Alright, 5th grade. Today we will be learning about mosquitoes and diseases. So, let's quickly recap our PBL scenario so far. We've received an emergency request from a group of researchers in Alfalfa Island, a newly discovered island near Indonesia. The researchers and explorers created a camp from which they could explore the island. At first, the camps were very limited. They didn't have much to eat and didn't have much shelter. Over time, they learned to build huts and hunt native animals. However, according to this request, all is not well. The people are falling ill, and they are experiencing symptoms such as rash, back pain, joint pain, vomiting, nausea, headache, chills, fever, and many of them are dying, and they aren't quite sure why. Last lesson, we figured out that it's mosquitoes that are causing the people of Alfalfa Island to fall ill. So now that we have this information, we need to prevent the same problem from occurring here in Virginia. In order to do so, we need to understand how mosquitoes spread diseases and the ways we can help prevent the spread of these diseases. Today, you will be working in groups to research and create posters and models that will be used to inform members of our school and community of the causes and dangers of mosquito-borne diseases. First, we are going to look at the anatomy of an adult mosquito. So, what is anatomy? Anatomy is the study of the body structures of animals. There are two major types of anatomy: macroscopic anatomy, which is the study of structures that can be seen by the naked eye, such as the external and internal bodily organs. Microscopic anatomy, which is the study of tiny structures that cannot be seen by the naked eye, such as tissues and cells. Today, we will be looking at the macroscopic anatomy of an adult mosquito. As we learned in our last lesson, mosquitoes are members of the insect family. So let's make a quick list of any macroscopic anatomical structures of mosquitoes and/or insects that we may already know. That's correct. Mosquitoes and insects have wings, which they use for flying. They have legs, usually 6, which they use for movement. That's correct. They have antennas. And they have eyes. Great job, friends. So it looks like we already know some anatomical structures of mosquitoes. Now, I am going to give each of you a copy of this mosquito anatomy worksheet. We are going to learn about a few more macroscopic anatomical structures of an adult mosquito. We are going to watch this YouTube video and then use what we have learned from the video to fill out our worksheets. Now, this video contains quite a lot of information, so I will be pausing a few times so we can discuss and work through it as a class.
Welcome to the Mosquito Anatomy tutorial. Today we're going to explore the anatomy of an adult mosquito. At any time, feel free to pause.
So now we know that mosquitoes have slender bodies with 3 segments: head, thorax, and abdomen. On the head, there are 2 compound eyes, 2 antennas, a proboscis, which is used for locating blood vessels and sucking blood, palps, which are used to help cut and manipulate food in the mouth. On the thorax, there's a pair of wings and 3 pairs of legs. On the abdomen, there are abdominal segments which consist of digestive and excretory organs. Now we will move on to our first group activity of this lesson. For this activity, you will be using your labeled worksheets to create a 3D adult mosquito model using the materials I've left here on the front table. Your mosquito model must have all 10 structures we have labeled and talked about on your worksheet. Now, get into groups of 3. Then in your groups, decide who will be the artist, the materials manager, and the speaker. The artist is responsible for drawing and sketching a plan for the group's model. The materials manager is responsible for collecting, cleaning up, and neatly putting away any materials used. The speaker is responsible for asking me questions on behalf of the group and sharing the group's ideas and final work to the class. Next, I'm going to give each team an instruction card, which will give directions for what you're expected to do during this activity. You have already completed steps 1 and 2. Next, you will solve a mathematical problem to get the size restrictions of your model. You will then sketch your model. Once the sketch and mathematical problem has been marked and approved by me, the materials manager will go to the front and collect the materials needed for the model. You will then build your model. Once you build the model, you will swap with another team so you can measure each other's models to see whether it falls within the size restrictions. You will then present your model to the class towards the end of the lesson. Before you go off to work in your groups, let's quickly review the order of operations. Who can remember the acronym for the order of operations? That's right, PEMDAS, which stands for parenthesis, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. The order of operations tells us in which order to solve steps in an expression with more than one operation. Now remember, just because we learn PEMDAS as a memory aid, it doesn't mean that multiplication must always come before division or that addition must always come before subtraction. We just always have to work through them from left to right on any given mathematical problem. Now let's solve this example together. Great! Now in your groups, you have 5 minutes to solve the 2 math problems on your instruction cards. Alright, now in your groups you will discuss what materials you're going to use for your model and plan how you will create each of the structures we have discussed. Once you and your team members have come to an agreement, the artist will sketch a plan for the model. Once I have seen your sketch, the material manager can go to the front and collect the materials needed for the model. Then you can start building. You will have 40 minutes. And remember, you can be as creative as you want with this activity. The only limit is your imagination. Great job, friends! I saw some fantastic looking models, and I cannot wait for you to share it with the rest of the class. Now, we will move on to the next portion of our lesson. I'm going to read aloud this book, Mosquitoes by S.L. Hamilton. Wow! Wasn't that just a fantastic book? Who knew there were over 3,500 species of mosquitoes? And who would have thought that insects so tiny could kill so many people across the globe every year? And over 40,000 people in the US are affected by the West Nile virus each year. Wow! What have you learned from this book? Now that we know just how dangerous mosquitoes can be to human health, we are going to watch a short YouTube video that illustrates how and why mosquitoes infect humans with these diseases. So what key information have we learned from this video? That's right! We have learned that only female mosquitoes bite. They bite people and animals to drink their blood because it provides them with the necessary nutrients they need to make their eggs. They use the sharp tip of their proboscis to pierce the skin and locate a blood vessel in the body. They then draw up the blood. Diseases are carried and transferred from person to person through this process. These diseases are sometimes called mosquito-borne diseases. Now we will move on to our second and final activity for today. Please go back into your teams. Decide who is going to be the artist, the materials manager, and the speaker. You can choose to switch roles or keep it the same. It's completely up to your team. The only difference this time is that the speaker is also responsible for doing online research on the laptop or tablet. Each group will be given a box. I like to call them the mosquito-borne disease box. In each box there will be one instruction card, articles about a mosquito-borne disease, one book about the disease, 2 website links, 1 video link, one table, and one graph. You will use the sources provided in the box to research and gather information about a mosquito-borne disease. The poster should inform people what type of mosquitoes transmit the disease, 3 symptoms of the disease, how many people in the US are affected by the disease, and what your table and graph communicates about the disease. You should also include whether or not the disease has a vaccine, and some examples of how people can protect themselves and prevent the spread of the disease. These questions are all on your instruction cards, and all the answers can be found on the sources provided in the box. Now let's look at a few examples of mosquito-borne disease posters. Once your posters are complete, you will present them to the class with your mosquito models. Now can the material managers go and grab a laptop or tablet and materials for their teams? You will have 50 minutes to complete this activity. Okay, time's up. Great job, friends. I saw some excellent looking posters and I cannot wait for you to share it with the rest of the class. I'm going to call upon one team at a time to come to the front and share your poster and mosquito model with the class. You will tell us how you made your models and all the information you think we need to know about your mosquito-borne disease. Remember, each team has a different mosquito-borne disease to you, so your classmates don't know anything about your disease. You are the experts. And remember, the best presenters always present information in a logical and interesting sequence which audience can follow. They demonstrate full knowledge by answering all the questions they've been asked with explanation and elaboration. They maintain eye contact with their audience and they keep their voices loud and clear for audience members to hear. Now can the first group please come up to present? Great job, friends. We have learned so much about mosquito anatomy and disease today. We will be hanging the posters and models around the school so we can inform our peers and community about mosquito-borne diseases and how they can help prevent its spread. Using our new knowledge, what advice can we give the people of Alfalfa Island to help stop their people from falling ill and losing their lives? That's right! They can use insect repellent, they can wear long-sleeve t-shirts and pants, they can use window nets and screens, they can sleep in a bed with a net, they can use air-conditioned rooms, avoid areas with still water, they can recycle, and they can be proactive in reversing global warming. These are all great suggestions. Okay, and that's all for today. Tomorrow we will be diving into the effects of climate change on mosquitoes. So go home, get some well-deserved rest, and we will pick up tomorrow.